Okay, welcome back to part two. I didn't realize I was cut off there, so I'm going to pick up right where I left off. So we're going to dive into how to find what H is. And before I kind of break it down, I'm going to just add a little bit to my note page. So I'm going to go back to page 70, and we're going to add in some notes about inverse operations, okay? So inverse is the same as opposite operations. And we're going to use this when we're finding missing variables, okay? So an inverse of an operation, so our four operations are first addition, and the opposite of that is subtraction. Okay, so they're the inverse to each other. And then we have multiplication. And the inverse of that, or opposite of that, is division. Okay, so if I have a problem and I don't know the variable, I'm going to use the opposite operation to determine what it is. So here I have a couple examples. So for my first example, let's say I know that I have 4 of something and I'm multiplying it by a variable. We'll use W. And the variable or the answer is going to be 12. Well, I know that whatever I put here, I'm going to have to multiply by 4 to get that. To figure out what that is, I'm going to have to use division to help me. So how I would write this, I'm going to divide 12 by 4, and that's going to give me 3, because I know 12 divided by 4 is 3, so W equals 3. Okay, another example, and remember, this is a real quick lesson. We would spend a lot more time on this if we were in class. I paused it because I made a mistake, and we're going to dive back into it. So let's do a different example. So I'm going to do one with addition and subtraction. So let's say I have a number, we'll do 9. And I know I'm adding something on to 9, so let's do M, and that gets me to 16, okay? So I know the opposite of addition is subtraction, so I'm going to have to figure out how to get from 16 to 9. So I'm going to start with 16, and I'm going to subtract 9, and that's going to give me what M is. And I know 16 minus 9 is 7. So M is equal to 7. Addition and subtraction look a little bit different, but I'm not going to show you those today, but just know that they are slightly different, but kind of the same process. You're going to have to do some reverse operations with those. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our original problem with Hoppy, and I'm going to see if I can figure out what H equals. So let me switch pens real fast. So I have addition in there, and I know that to figure this out, I'm going to have to use my inverse operation. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to start over here with 12 feet, because that's the total. I know that for sure. And I know that I have 8 feet, so I'm going to subtract that 8 feet from it, and that's going to tell me what H is. So I know that 12 minus 8 is 4 feet. So H is the same as 4 feet. So if you even wanted to write that up there, you could. 4 feet. So I used my inverse operation. Now I could just do a real quick check to make sure that it is correct. So if I had 8, my original 8 feet, now I'm going to just double check with my 4 feet. And when I add those together, 8 plus 4, that equals 12 feet. So you would even write, if you wanted to, H equals 4 feet, just to be clear, okay? Now let's do another problem, and I already wrote it out, so if you want to write it down, you can, but if not, or if you do, pause it, and if you're like, no, I got it, continue with me. So Our second problem we're going to practice today says Dr. Frog did 3 special jumps, all the same distance, and 1 hop of 10 feet. His total jump distance was 16 feet. How long was each of his special jumps? So we're going to be looking at 3 jumps that are the same length. So we're going to be using the same variable because they're all the same distance. And we know the total and we know one of the jumps. So we're going to have to figure out what those 3 jumps equal. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a model of the jumps, and I'm using a different color now. You can do the same if you want to, but you do not have to. Okay, so I know first off that there are 3 special jumps. Okay, so I'm going to just do those, and it doesn't really matter. So those are all my 3 special jumps. So I'm going to give them the variable of s for special. And then I know that he has 1 hop of 10 feet. So this jump, oops, I should have done jumps here. Jump, jump, jump. So those are all s. And then he had 1 jump that was 10 feet. Okay, and his total jump distance was 16 feet. So I know from 0 to 16 to the end was 16 feet. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get this right here. So the first thing I know is I have 3 s's. So I multiplied 3 times s to get me this length. Okay, and I'm going to put that in parentheses. And then I have to add that onto 10 feet. And that will get me to 16. So the trick here is I have to do a little bit of a couple different operations. First thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 10 because I really want to figure out how long this part is. Okay, and I'm just going to do this. So how long is this length here? So let's figure that out first. So I'm going to do 16 minus 10 because I want to figure out how long is this. And 16 minus 10 is 6. Great. So I know that this right here is going to be 6 feet long. So if I know that this is 6 feet long and each one of these special jumps is the same length, I know I'm going to have to divide this 6 feet into 3 equal jumps. So if I'm dividing something out by 3 equally, I'm going to use division. So now I'm going to divide 6 by 3. And I know that 6 divided by 3 is 2. So each of my special jumps is going to be 2 feet long, okay? So 2 feet equals s. So let's just double check because I'm not convinced that I have this correct. So I'm going to do 2 times that 3 because I had 3 jumps, 1, 2, 3. So 2 times 3, and that equals 6. Okay, I'm off to a good start. Now I'm going to add that 6 to my 10 feet. 6 plus 10. Okay, and that's going to get me to 16 feet. Well, that's awesome because that's exactly how long this is. So I know for sure that s equals 2. Okay, so that's those are 2 just practice problems for you to figure out how to use variables and how to solve for variables. You're going to have to create expressions. So this would be my expression here, okay, or my problem. And then you're going to have to solve for those variables, and that's what we did here. All right. I told you were going to have to do some practice problems today. I lied. I didn't realize our notes were going to take this long. So as long as you got your notes for today, you are done with Wednesday. All right. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. We're going to do another set of notes tomorrow, but you're going to need a blank piece of paper, or if you picked up your INBs, you're going to need that. It was tiles. There was a piece of paper or cardboard in there that had some tiles that you're going to cut out. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. All right, make sure you fill out your notes, and I will we'll be ready for tomorrow. All right, have a good night. Bye.